Hello, everyone. Welcome to Five Fast Questions. And today, our guest is the werewolf Whittler. Many of you may have seen her videos on YouTube, her carvings and videos on Instagram, and of course, other photos too. Werewolf, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here.
So, I appreciate your agreeing to come on and share some insights about yourself and give people an opportunity to learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah, me too. I'm really glad to talk about it, about woodcarving. It's one of my favorite subjects, so I'm very happy to be here.
Well, let's start with question number one then, because, most people have a story about how they got into wood carving, and I know I do, and a lot of people I've talked to have kind of shared their thoughts and, you know, what inspired them, how they even learned about it. So tell us the story about how you got into wood carving.
Right. I wish it was a more exciting story, but it's hard for me to pinpoint the exact moment when I decided to give woodcarving a try. I just remember having a very dull pocket knife and a random piece of construction wood. And I thought, I wonder if these two things can go together. Let's see what happens. And I ended up with a very crude little bird and a flat, unusable spoon. But it felt like magic. It's just something just clicked. I realized this is actually fun. And 2 hours earlier, there was nothing but just a plain piece of wood in my hands. And then suddenly there was a bird. And that's what I find so satisfying about wood carving is that you see the results of your work fairly quickly. I think that immediate transformation is what really drew me in at first. But there's also something deeply natural and wholesome about it. It's like, well, wood carving is an ancient art and it's been around for thousands of years. So when you carve, it feels like you are connecting with those who came before you, like you're tapping into something timeless. And so I think this sense of connection is what kept me going, also paired with curiosity. Because early on, I wanted to carve a spoon. Then I started experimenting with different types of wood, making jewelry pieces. I just found myself fascinated by those endless possibilities. And I'm still discovering new techniques and ideas every day. And so, yeah, this is how it all happened, really.
Yeah.
Just all started with curiosity.
And then you got that feeling once you
Yeah,
got rolling there. So
yeah,
there are not that many women compared to men who are into wood
that's
carving,
true.
especially
Yeah,
young women. Yeah,
yeah,
it's it's kind of an interesting thing because most of the men even are
yeah,
50s, 60s, and into their 70s. So
yeah.
yeah, it's an interesting community, but at the same time, I'm sure there are other folks out there just like you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and this is what I also try to show in my videos that I'm trying to attract young people as well. So that's why I post my videos on like TikTok and platforms like that. And I see that more and more of younger people are becoming interested in as well. So that's quite interesting.
Well, that's great. Yeah, especially in the world today where we live and there are so many things that are made by machines and to have
Mm,
something that's made by hand is, I don't know, I think it's kind of special. Well, let's
yeah,
go to question number two. All right. So
yeah.
if you had the opportunity to speak to a beginner woodcarver
Mhm.
and you could give them one single piece of advice, what would that be?
Right. So that might be a little bit less conventional, maybe, but hear me out. My advice would be to practice some basic sketching and drawing from the like early on. Now I know that you don't have to be a good woodcarver, and you don't have to draw to be a woodcarver, but you can absolutely just follow like tutorials. You can use patterns available online. There are so many of them. And you can even just visualize a project directly in wood, just seeing it as something three-dimensional straight away. But I think learning to sketch, even just a little, will sort of massively expand your creative range. It opens the door to other projects like jewelry pieces from hardwood or just carvings that are entirely your own design. you don't need to be a great artist to do that. I'm not formally trained in drawing either. I just grab a pencil and sketch from time to time. So this is what I would suggest. Start small. Just place a simple object like a cup of tea on the table and try to draw it. Or you can draw from photos. And the more you practice, the better you will get at understanding the shapes and proportions, which is like really valuable in carving. And if you do that at least like twice a week, you'll notice a difference. And so it's just, there comes a point in your wood carving journey when you want to create something unique, something entirely your own. And that's when those drawing skills will really help you. And because you will be able to create more complex things. So that would be my advice.
Very good. Yeah, that's interesting. I really enjoy doing my own designs too. It's, I guess, I don't think I've ever purchased a rough out, for example. Yeah, and every once in a while I get an idea in my head and I just have to go with it.
Yeah. There's really something satisfying about it. Transferring your idea right on wood. Yeah.
So let's move to question number 3. Out of all of your wood carving achievements so far, which
Right.
one are you most proud of?
Right. So I would say I'm mostly proud of discovering, I don't know, I'm calling it 101 ways to carve a fox. Well, not literally 101, though I think at this rate I might get to that number at one point. It's just fascinating to see how versatile a subject a fox can be. You can carve it from like 1 by 1 inch block. You can carve a fox's head and turn it into like a piece of jewelry. You can make Christmas tree decorations. It can be a running fox, a sleeping fox, jumping fox, and so on. And it just amazes me that a fox as an idea is like as vast as universe. Every time I think that's it, I've carved enough foxes, and then another idea pops into my head. And I actually think that this is a great creative challenge. And I would encourage any carver to try something similar. Like you could pick a subject and explore all the ways that you can interpret it through carving. For example, I don't know, take a sheep. It could be a carved doll with movable limbs, or a mixed media figurine with like real wool attached, or flat relief carving. So I think it's a really fun exercise. It really sparks creativity, and it's just full of endless possibilities, really. So if you're looking to challenge yourself, I would really recommend that.
Yeah. And I have carved a fox too. Yeah, I sure have. All right, so tell everyone a fun fact about you that most people would be surprised to learn.
Right, this is a very hard question, and I'm not sure if it's surprising, but maybe it will resonate with people who are still searching for that one thing that makes them feel, yes, this is for me, this is what I've been looking for. It took me a while to find wood carving, and I don't measure that in years, but rather in many other activities that I tried before discovering carving. Like I wanted to be a painter. I bought so many watercolor paints and sketchbooks. I did that. Then I got really serious about knitting and crocheting for a while. And after that, I spent a few good years doing origami, the art of paper folding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I tried photography. I was set on becoming a photographer. That's it. That was my thing now. Then I became a language teacher, and that became my life. And I switched to programming. After that, I wanted to be a designer. So I tried so many different things. And then I think that's okay. So in fact, I think that should be normalized. So like every experience teaches you something valuable and pushes you closer to discovering what like truly feels like your thing. And for me, that turned out to be wood carving. So I feel like, yes, that's my thing now. And I'm grateful for like every step that led me there. And I encourage everyone to do that, try different things, and then find their way, find their thing. And it doesn't matter how many steps it's going to take. And if wood carving is going to be your thing, well, that's great. We're going to have another addition to our wood carving community.
Well, yeah, that's very, it's interesting, and you mentioned origami, sometimes I see
Mm,
some pictures on, Pinterest of different origami, like, animal shapes, and I think that's kind of a really cool reference for flat
yeah,
plane
yeah,
carving of whatever the
definitely.
figure is. They even have foxes.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. Maybe I should try that.
So, let's go to our final question today. What sort of resources do you have available for carvers? Maybe products, services, what have you, and where can they find them?
Right. So I'm mostly active on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. On Instagram and YouTube, you can find me under Werewolf Whittler, while on TikTok, I'm Werewolf Carver, one word. I don't know, TikTok doesn't like the word Whittler for some reason.
Hmm.
And on YouTube, I post longer tutorials and wood carving vlogs where I share my like day-to-day experiments, try out different types of wood and knives, explore new techniques. And on Instagram and TikTok, I create shorter tutorials and process videos, usually under 2 minutes. So just to keep things quick and accessible. And yeah, so mostly that. And yeah, I also wanted to take a moment to say how much I appreciate that this incredible online woodcarving community. It's amazing that we all can connect and share knowledge and learn from each other. And honestly, I don't think I would have been able to do any of this without the internet and without all these amazing people, because it's so inspiring. So you're not in a vacuum. You're together with everyone else. So just a huge thank you to everyone who sort of participates in this creative hub of woodcarvers, and I'm really happy to be part of it.
Well, yeah, I appreciate all of your contributions. And it's interesting. I've seen lately that there's a YouTube update coming that
Mm,
will enable creators to have their videos translated into other languages. So you can imagine the carving community from all over the world,
yeah.
with people who only speak one language, like
Mhm.
me, having it translated into Italian, for example.
Yeah.
Um, it's going to be great.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, to have it more accessible to everyone. It's just amazing that you can learn stuff without leaving your house, really. Yeah.
Well, Ms. Werewolf, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. And anytime you need any assistance from me, I'm glad to offer it. And I'll be watching all those videos that you produce.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was nice talking to you. Thank you.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoy this episode. We'll be back again with another one soon. Thank you very much.